The approach that we are going to be going with is a simple structure to draw our hands first, and we will then be doing all our practice using this model. After we're comfortable with that, we will then find out how to make the hand more realistic so that you don't get accused of AI art. So let's look at this simple structure first. The point of this simple structure is to focus on proportioning, perspective, and your intuition of where to position the fingers. For the palm, draw a flat square box. The width of the box would roughly be 1/3 of the length and height. For the fingers, cylinders will do just fine. Divide the cylinder into 3 parts, and now you have a finger that can bend. The pinky is 2 index finger phalanges long, and the index finger is 2.5 middle finger phalanges long. If that's too complicated, just make sure the tips of the fingers can create an arc shape. Once you can comfortably draw both, connect the fingers and the palm together like a pair of oversized Lego. And now we have a pretty solid hand. When it comes to drawing the thumb on the side, draw a triangle first on the side. From the triangle, draw 2 roughly equal parts for the thumb. This is your simple structure for the hand, which means we can now get into practicing. When drawing anything, it's best to draw from all 3 different axes of angles to get a good sense of how something looks in 3D. So the top, the front, and the side. Since the hand isn't symmetrical, it's technically better to draw all 6 sides, but you could get away with just drawing 3. But if you're feeling lazy, then don't stop me from stopping you. If you have some trouble with perspective, I made a video on perspective already, which I have timestamped. Make sure to practice a variety of hand poses too, for the lack of a better term. For example, a fist, a peace sign, and a whole lot more. I recommend using references, and if you don't have a reference, you can use the line of action site, which will be linked in the description below. To recap, the simple structure is where you'll be spending the most, like 80%, of your time practicing, as the following section is just there to make the hand look a little more realistic. To practice, first draw the palm. Then draw out the finger with a line first to mark them out. Once you're happy with the finger placement, you can then draw them as a full cylinder. Back on track, for the complex structure, I'll just go over a bunch of small changes that you can add to the simple structure to get a more accurate model. You'll want to change the square into a more hexagonal shape. This is the same shape arc that the tips of the fingers make. Next, let's make the fingers more accurate. I mentioned that the finger is split into 3 equal parts, and that's only true for the front of the hand. From the back of the hand, it's a little different. The top 2 phalanges are normal. The bottom phalange is different because your knuckle is actually there. So it's actually equal to the length of the 2 phalanges, and the webbing of the hand is roughly halfway. The following are smaller things to take note of, so it's time for the lightning round. To better sell the illusion of the palm, you can break it down into 3 equal parts, like so. Between fingers are these webbings that you can draw to have the fingers flow smoother. The front of the palm is not the same as the knuckles at the back of the palm, because the knuckles are a little lower than that. The knuckles sit in the center of the top part of the palm. The blue is the webbing, and the red are the knuckles. And that's all of the intricacies that I know of. If there are any more that I missed, feel free to let everyone know. You don't really need this part, but for some of you, your hands might still look a little wonky, and chances are it's because you have a lot of straight lines. So, easier solution is to just make most of the lines of the hands curved. Easier said than done, because most of the time, the hand has a lot of curves that are very subtle, so it's very hard to draw. This is where I introduce something that I like to call line theory. And I want to quickly go over an observation technique that I like to use often, so you can better spot these curves. Basically, to analyze a curve, be aware of the following when drawing. The beginning and end points, the peak of the curve, and where it is along the line, the ratio between the height of the peak and the length of the line, and the angle of the line relative to the page. For example, let's look at the fingertips. My fingertips look way sharper than a real life fingertip. So let's over-observe, shall we? So this is the curve we are trying to replicate. This is the peak of the curve and this is the length. You can see that the ratio is roughly 1:1. The angle is roughly 45 degrees-ish. So keep that in mind when drawing, and there we go. Pretty accurate now. Knowing these aspects of a curve will allow you to replicate the other curves of the hand more accurately. Is this overkill? Absolutely. Is this unnecessary? Absolutely. If you're going to use this, save it for when you're polishing the hand. Here are a couple curvy points of the hand: the fingertips, the joint areas, the fingernails, and the palm. Alternatively, if you want to avoid all that mumbo jumbo, just remember to avoid straight lines like the plague, and you'll be good. This next section is going to be a bunch of miscellaneous tips that don't fit into any of the video chapters before. Some artists like to join the middle and ring finger together to make it simpler and more elegant. Some artists like to draw 2 bends in the fingers instead of 3. Not much else to say about this one. When you're closing your hands, the fingers are not parallel, but rather point mostly towards the center. This is most evident in the pinky. User reference. Sometimes the hands look wrong because there was something you might not accounted for, like trying to stick up the ring finger. Besides, you already have 2 perfectly good references right there. You can use the line theory observation mentioned earlier to determine the bend of the finger crease. These creases convey how bent a finger is, so it's crucial to get these correct, especially because they make up most of the perspective for the finger. The creases of these lines are very important, so I don't know why I put this here. I think I just forgot to change the script. Yeah, but remember, they're very important, okay? And there you go. With this, hands are no longer difficult. I hope. Just keep grinding away at section 1 and you can eventually get to this point. Good luck with your art journey, and thank you for watching.